Everyone wants to act like a man. But what if I told you being a man has nothing to do with muscles, money, or attitude, and everything to do with a battle you're fighting every single day, silently, against yourself? This speech will change the way you see manhood forever. Stay with me till the end, because the truth will shock you. Everyone in this world grows up hearing that to be a man, you need muscles, strength, and a fearless face. From the movies we watch, from the stories we hear, from the examples shown to us, we're told that manhood is about toughness, domination, and never showing weakness. But let me tell you the truth that nobody emphasizes enough. Being a man has nothing to do with how hard you punch, how loud your voice is, or how scary your face looks. Being a man is about one thing, and that is taking responsibility when it's easy to run away. That single choice, that single decision defines whether you are acting like a real man or just pretending. Because let's face it, anyone can run away. Anyone can blame the world. Anyone can say life is unfair. But a man is the one who stands when everything inside him says down. A man is the one who accepts his role, his mistakes, his responsibilities, even when nobody is watching. That's the difference. You see, running away gives temporary relief, but taking responsibility gives permanent strength. Think about the strongest men in history. Not the ones with the biggest bodies, but the ones with the biggest hearts. They stood in the middle of storms, not because they had no fear, but because they had the courage to take ownership of the situation. They didn't point fingers at fate, destiny, or society. They said, if it is to be, it's up to me. That mindset alone separates the boys from the men. Imagine this. You're facing a problem in your life. It could be financial struggles, broken relationships, career failures, or even your own lack of confidence. At that moment, you have two choices. The first is the easy road, to run, to escape, to blame your parents, your government, your luck. And the second is the hard road, to face it, to say, this is my life, this is my mess, this is my responsibility, and I will deal with it. That second choice is painful, it's uncomfortable, it makes you question yourself every single day. Yeah, looking. But that choice is the definition of acting like a man. Let me give you an example. Picture a father who loses his job. Now he can run away, drown in self-pity, blame the economy, or even abandon his family. That's the escape. Or he can step up, take responsibility, say, yes, this happened, but it's on me to rise again. He could start from scratch, take any work he finds, rebuild slowly. That is not weakness, that is power. That is manhood. Muscles won't feed his children. Anger won't pay the bills. But responsibility will push him to do what has to be done. And responsibility isn't only about big things. It's also in the smallest actions. A man doesn't lie to himself. A man doesn't make excuses for being lazy, for being careless, for being careless, for being unprepared. If he fails, he says, yes, it was my fault. If he wins, he shares the credit. That's responsibility. That's maturity. That's what makes people respect you, even when you have nothing else. Running away looks tempting because it feels like freedom, but it is slavery in disguise. It chains you to regret. It traps you in the cycle of what ifs. But standing up, owning your actions, and carrying your responsibilities is real freedom. You walk tall, you sleep peacefully, you speak with power, because deep down you know you didn't run. You faced it, and that changes everything. And being a man is not about being perfect. Nobody is. You will fall. You will break. You will doubt yourself. But a man does not hide behind excuses. He looks at the mess and says, it's mine. I'll clean it. I'll fix it. I'll rebuild. That's how you grow. That's how you grow. That's how you transform. Every scar becomes proof that you stood up instead of running away. You see, the world respects responsibility more than anything else. People may fear your strength. They may admire your money. They may follow your status. But in their hearts, they only respect those who stand when it's easier to fall. They only trust the ones who take ownership of their actions, because that's rare. Most people escape. Most people hide. Very few step up. And when you become one of those few, you stand out without even trying. So don't be fooled by appearances. Don't think manhood is in the beard, the height, the weight, or the attitude. None of that matters when life hits you hard. What matters is whether you take the hit and still take responsibility for what happens next. That is the test. That is the difference. And here's the raw truth. Responsibility is not glamorous. It won't get you claps in the beginning. It won't get you recognition instantly. In fact, most of the time, people won't even notice. You will quietly carry the weight, quietly do the right thing, quietly face your struggles. But with time, that responsibility builds you into a man people can rely on, a man people can trust, a man people can respect. And that is far greater than the temporary applause for fake toughness. Advice. So the next time life throws something at you, ask yourself, are you going to run or are you going to own it? Are you going to escape like the majority or are you going to step up like the minority? Remember, it's not about the size of your body. It's about the size of your body. It's about the size of your responsibility. That's what makes you a man. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a boy standing at the edge of a road. Behind him is the wreckage of all the mistakes he has made, broken trust, failed attempts, lost chances. In front of him lies a long, endless path filled with uncertainty. He's scared. He's angry. He wants to run, to escape, to vanish. And then a voice inside whispers, act like a man. But what does that really mean? People tell him that being a man is about having muscles, walking with a straight face, never crying, never showing weakness, but deep inside, he knows that's a lie. Lies there. Because the hardest thing in life is not lifting weights or acting tough. The hardest thing is taking responsibility when every bone in your body wants to run away. Being a man is standing there in that exact moment and saying, yes, this is my life, and it's on me to fix it. Picture this. A young man loses his job. His friends laugh, society whispers, and his family stares at him with silent questions in their eyes. He feels the urge to blame the system, his boss, the unfair world. He feels like disappearing. But then he takes a breath and decides, no. I'll carry this. I'll own this. I'll start again. That moment, that tiny shift is manhood. Not the job, not the money, not the status. Just the courage to take responsibility instead of escaping. Let me tell you another story. A father comes home late at night, tired, broke, and hopeless. His children are waiting at the dinner table, their eyes shining with hunger and expectation. He has no money in his pocket, no solution in his mind. At that moment, he could run. He could drown in excuses. He could say, the world is unfair. It's not my fault. He wakes up the next morning and does whatever it takes, no matter how small, no matter how humiliating, to put food on that table. That's manhood. Not pride, not ego, but responsibility. Because here's the truth. Anyone can run. Anyone can hide. Anyone can hide. Anyone can live blaming others, but only a man can look at the storm and say, if it's my life, then it's my fight. Now imagine yourself. Think about the times you faced failure. Think about the nights you've sat in silence, wishing life was different, hoping someone else would fix things for you. In those moments, didn't running away feel easier? Didn't blaming someone else feel comforting? But did it ever solve anything? No, it only left you weaker, smaller, emptier. But the times you stood up, the times you took charge, even when you were scared, didn't those moments transform you? Didn't they shape you into someone stronger? That is the power of responsibility. It hurts, but it heals. It breaks you, but it builds you. It crushes you, but then it crowns you. The truth is, being a man has nothing to do with how strong your body looks. Because one day, strength will fade, muscles will shrink, but responsibility never dies. It is the one thing that makes people respect you, trust you, and remember you. Think of every great man history has given us. Were they respected because of their size? No. They were respected because they didn't run. They stood when standing meant pain. They carried weight when the world expected them to collapse. They own their mistakes, their failures, their journeys. That's why they are remembered. That's why they are honored. Now imagine this as a scene in a movie. A man walks into a burning building. Not because he is fearless, but because someone inside needs him. His body is shaking, his mind screaming to turn back. But he moves forward. That is responsibility. That's manhood. Fear didn't vanish. He just refused to let it control him. When we judge poverty as a flaw of character, we kill hope. But when we see potential in the poor, we unlock greatness that benefits society as a whole. Every judgment placed on someone for being poor is like adding another stone to the heavy load they already carry. Imagine a young boy who dreams of becoming a doctor, yet he is told by others that his dreams are impossible because of where he comes from. Imagine a mother who sacrifices everything to give her children a chance, only to be labeled careless because she cannot provide luxuries. These judgments strip away dignity and crush hope before it even has the chance to grow. The tragedy is not in poverty itself, but in the way society chooses to define those living in it. Hope is one of the most powerful forces in a human life. It gives people the strength to endure the hardest days and the courage to believe in tomorrow. When we say to someone, "You are poor because you are lazy," or "You are poor because you are weak," we are not only insulting them, we are extinguishing that hope. Without hope, dreams die. Without hope, dreams die. Without hope, efforts shrink. Without hope, the potential of millions of people around the world remains locked away, wasted, forgotten. But the moment we choose to see poverty differently, everything changes. To see potential in someone, even when they have nothing, is to light a spark inside them. It is to say, "I believe you can." That spark has the power to ignite determination, courage, and creativity that can transform lives. History has shown us again and again that greatness is not born from comfort, but from struggle. Leaders, thinkers, artists, and inventors who came from poor backgrounds prove that the seed of potential is not bound by wealth. Poverty may surround a person, but it does not define the fire within them. What defines them is whether someone, maybe a teacher, a mentor, a friend, or society itself, chooses to nurture that fire or smother it with judgment. When potential is recognized and supported, it not only changes the life of the poor, but enriches the entire community. A child from the slums who is given education can grow into a scientist who discovers cures, a leader who inspires nations, or an artist who touches hearts across the world. A young girl who is encouraged to continue her studies instead of being dismissed because of her poverty can become the teacher who guides thousands of others. Poverty may hide diamonds in the rough, but the recognition of potential is what polishes them into brilliance. On the other hand, when society locks people in the cage of poverty by blaming them for their circumstances, it is not just individuals who suffer, but all of humanity. How many great leaders were silenced before they could speak? How many solutions to our biggest problems never came to light because the poor were never given the chance to rise? The truth is that the poor are not asking for pity. They are not asking to be looked down upon or pitied as helpless. They are asking for recognition, for equal opportunity, for a fair chance to show who they are. They are asking to be seen as humans with dreams, talents, and dignity. Poverty is a circumstance, not an identity. When we acknowledge that, we begin to unlock the true wealth of humanity, the ability of people to rise, to create, to build, to inspire, no matter where they start. Society becomes stronger when it invests in the potential of its weakest members. A bridge is only as strong as its weakest pillar, and humanity is only as strong as the opportunities it gives to its poorest. When we give a child the tools to learn, when we create systems that allow people to work with dignity, when we lift up instead of tearing down, we do not just change one life, we change the trajectory of generations. The wealth of character that emerges from those who rise from poverty is a wealth that no money can measure because it is built on resilience, gratitude, and vision. The difference between killing hope and unlocking potential is the difference between a world that stagnates and a world that flourishes. When we learn to stop seeing poverty as a lack of character, we open the door to infinite possibilities. The boy with no shoes could become the doctor who saves lives. The girl selling flowers on the street could become the writer who moves souls. The laborer working in the heat could become the leader who fights for justice, but only if we choose to see them as more than their poverty. So, what does all of this mean for us? It means that poverty is not the end of a story. It is only the beginning of a struggle that can lead to greatness. It means that the measure of a person is not in what they own, but in what they own, but they overcome. And it means that the voices of the poor are not cries of weakness, but echoes of strength waiting to be heard. Let me ask you, when you see a child begging on the street, do you only see torn clothes, or do you see a dream hidden behind those tired eyes? When you see a man struggling to earn a single meal, do you only see poverty, or do you see the determination in his footsteps that refuses to stop? When you see a woman carrying the weight of her family with nothing but courage in her heart, do you see weakness, or do you see the true definition of power? I say this to every person listening right now. Poverty is not who you are. It is only where you are. Your character, your spirit, your future are not locked by your circumstances. They are unlocked by your choices, your resilience, your hunger to rise. You are not defined by the limits around you. You are defined by the fire within you. Dialogue with yourself right now. Am I broken because I am poor? No. You are unbroken because you are still standing. Am I small because I have nothing? No. You are great because you refuse to give up. Am I a failure because I was born with less? No, you are proof that life's greatest success stories begin with nothing but a dream. Remember this. Poverty cannot steal your mind. Poverty cannot steal your heart. Poverty cannot steal your will unless you hand it over. And I promise you, the world has been moved forward not by those who started rich, but by those who started with nothing but dared to believe in something greater. Think of the voices of history. The inventors, the leaders, the poets, the warriors, so many of them born in homes without comfort, in streets without safety, in lives without privilege. And yet, they rose. They rose because they refused to believe that poverty was their destiny. Ostiny. They rose because they looked in the mirror and said, this is not the end of my story. This is only the beginning. And so I ask you, what will you say to yourself? Will you say to yourself, will you let society's judgment write your fate, or will you write your own chapter? Will you let the weight of poverty chain your steps, or will you let your dreams teach you to fly? Will you allow others to call you Elise, or will you rise to prove that you are a more than they could ever imagine? Every great journey starts with one step, even if that step is taken barefoot. Every victory begins with one decision, even if that decision is made in the darkest night. And every transformation begins with one belief, the belief that you are not powerless, that your future is not locked, that your character is greater than your circumstances. So I leave you with this call, rise. Rise not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Rise with the belief that your struggle is not shame. It is strength.